today's guest is a very near and dear friend. His name is Vikram Mittal. Vikram and I met at a conference last year in Goa where actually it was not even a conference, it was a summit which was more about personal growth. And he and I connected at a very different level, almost became brothers, and we are brothers today more than friends, where I got to know about his entrepreneur journey, about he started his business, how he moved from being a merchant navy individual to being now an entrepreneur, and how the love for kombucha and fermented and organic products have really got him to where he is today. It's been an amazing conversation, and I hope you get inspired by his entrepreneurial journey, his perspectives about starting up, and more importantly, how his passion of kombucha, which I really love. His products are amazing. And if you want to know more about, I'll leave the link to his website and to his Instagram on the show notes, which you can, if you're interested in kombucha, you should definitely think about ordering those products. But get excited. I'm pretty excited to bring this show to you. If you have any perspectives or if you want to reach out to Vikram, I'll leave his contact details in the show notes, and you can definitely do that. Without much further ado, let me get on with the show today. Hey Vikram, welcome to Masters Decoded podcast. Really glad to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Anish. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and I heard your previous podcast. I was like, just the name Masters Decoded and being there, automatically says that you're a master, and who wouldn't want that to be added in front of their name?
Definitely, no, you are a master, and thank you for these lovely kombucha. By the way,
absolutely,
blueberry is my favorite.
Wow.
I would say I've been having them for some time, and whenever I see you, I say, get me some of the blueberries.
It's wonderful. The best part of this job is, I think people love food, but being able to do something that really makes the other person happy without really you having to, where there's no interaction needed. Every time that you have a blueberry, or anybody has a blueberry, or any other flavor for that matter, and then they enjoy it and they want to have one, that is the 80% of this whole process for me. It really makes me happy, that someone actually wants something that I have made, I've put my heart and soul in. And I think that really makes me happy. There's nothing else.
So kombucha, and specifically if you look at the market which we are in right now, India, it's still coming up. And however, many people don't realize fermentation has been there in India for many, many years. Ghar pe achar and those thousands of years, right? Fermentation as a process,
right?
Whether it is for storing food, making pickles, or any of the process.
In general,
it's been there.
It's a part and parcel of everyday life. It's just that a lot of times, a lot of these processes, we don't name them, we don't call them. They're such an integral part of our everyday life that we don't think before we do that. Like nobody says कि आज मैं दूध ferment करने वाला हूँ. Mama just says बेटा दही जमा दिया है, खा लेना. It's like a everyday thing for us, so we don't even pay attention. कोई खम्मन बन रहा है, for example, या ढोकला, या all of these things. जलेबी बन रही है. All of this is fermented, and we've been doing it. Nobody makes a big deal out of it कि हम कुछ ferment करने जा रहे हैं आज. It only when it comes to something like a kombucha or like a kimchi or something, because these are relatively new for our palate, and it's a new awareness for people. Although it may be thousands of years old, just because these names are a new awareness for people, unfamiliarity है, तो इसके लिए it becomes like a bigger deal कि अरे he ferments something,
So that means you will have lot of difficulties in educating people. Achar समझ जाता है, right? Which is a Eastern version of achar, right? Kimchi in a way, right? This liquid which is there, छाछ सबको समझती है, but nobody understands kombucha, right? So education as part of your company, as part of your process, meaning you will be spending tons of energy, branding, marketing around this entire process.
Yes. So when we started, of course, as when we talk about it, I think the dots will connect themselves and everything. But हमने जब शुरू किया था तो it was not about creating a brand or creating anything. We just wanted to do something that we really felt was different and something that we really enjoyed doing at that point. So it was making a lot of sense at then, and we didn't even think कि हम लोगों को educate करना पड़ेगा, because to us it came easily, and to the people around us also it came sort of easily because they didn't have to really work on it. They were talking to us and we were the first source of information for them, and for us it was books and internet and everything else. And there was no, even today unfortunately there's no benchmarking for the products that we do. So we are the ones who are setting the benchmarks and the high points and the low points for the products, and the variations and everything. So we are the defining authority, not just me, but like companies like us, smaller artisanal companies, and who are doing kombucha and kimchi and all of that. But we did understand that we didn't want it, but unfortunately the burden of education fell upon us. Yeah, and it's far from over. There is still a lot of work that needs to be done, and in that spirit we've done about I have lost count now over years, but in the last 4.5 or quarter to 5, almost close to 5 years, including 2 years of COVID, we've done close to 600 days and places of participation where we've been out of the house, standing somewhere, talking to people about kombucha, about ginger ale, about kimchi, about everything else that we do, about fermentation in general, workshops, corporates, farmers markets, flea events, everything. And the whole idea is that educating people.
This is where we talk about India being a market where we have a lot of perceptions and a lot of thoughts about products. As an example, you took a product named ginger ale. Many people don't know it's a fermented drink in many ways, right? It's very good for your gut, but people look at it as a mixer for drinks. They will have it as a drink.
Yes.
Right? Do you see that people typecasting in India more so with these products?
No, I don't think it's typecasting really. I just think that people understand what comes to them, what has been their past experience. So for example, like we were talking, education. It is all about education. The thing is, ginger ale used to be, it stemmed out from ginger beer.
Yep.
Now, what we do is a non-alcoholic sort of a ginger beer, but if you call it beer, people think alcohol hoga, which is not the case, right? It's a very nice, refreshing beverage. There is nothing. The process of making alcohol is slightly different than what we do, so it's not the same thing. But when you say ginger ale and ginger beer, now you wanted a stable product, because ginger is and probably will be the most loved flavor across the world in all beverages. Like कोई भी beverage होगा, ginger becomes a ginger tea, ginger this, ginger that, ginger beer. Kombucha में भी ginger is one of our most popular flavors. So to make it shelf stable and to make people understand, because people like ginger beer, but not everybody wanted alcohol, right? And it also turned out to be a good mixer because it's soda and it has ginger flavor and it goes well with a variety of drinks, especially in that time when gin was hugely popular, right?
Yeah.
I think first gin I ever heard was Bombay Sapphire, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're talking about that and you're talking about Britain, and then they have, so ginger ale came from Britain. So they started, putting soda in the bottle and there's some ginger flavor, or probably at that time they actually put the ginger, but not anymore. So that's how ginger ale came about. Now when it came to India, nobody was doing ginger ale. Root beer is, the moment you say beer, people sort of step back and think, oh, is it or is it not? So education नहीं था. अब ginger ale is easily available. Store में रखा रहता है, clear है. Nobody ever talks about ginger ale में कहीं भी alcohol नहीं आता, ठीक है ना? So it just becomes easy for people. Now when I tell people, I have to say ginger ale because that's the non-alcoholic version of a ginger beer that natural, right? It's a factory-made thing. It is not so natural, so to say. But this one is. So education का ही फर्क आ जाता है eventually. Now I have changed my narrative when I go to people. I used to say we do ginger ale, but then I understand if I keep saying ginger ale, they're like मैं ये क्यों खरीदूँ, वो क्यों नहीं खरीदूँ, right?
बड़े ब्रांड्स की
बड़े ब्रांड का क्यों नहीं लूँ, उसका तो मार्केटिंग कितना अच्छा है, वो सब पीते हैं, वो तो ये भी है ना. प्लस उसके अलावा कि वो तो मैं फ्रिज में साल भर भी रखूँगा, क्या फ्रिज में नहीं रखूँगा तो भी साल भर ख़राब नहीं होगा. So then I have to go out, and as I gauge my customer, and that's why being out there and talking to my customer becomes really important, because then I can tell them, yaar wo jo aap pee rahe ho, that's a product, and yes, there is a big market for it and you can choose to have it. But if you're actually looking for something कि आपने पढ़ा है कि ginger ale is good for health or benefit, or there is it is a healthier alternative, I will give you a even more healthier alternative to even a ginger ale, which is this. Great mixer, great drink, and actually contains ginger, which is supposed to be a super food for your digestion, right? So narrative thera pickles ke bare mein, like we were saying. So now when I tell people sauerkraut या kimchi, या people are like, kimchi तो मैंने सुना है mainland China से सुना है,
mainland China में मिलता है,
और वो वॉक में मिलता है. Then I have to tell them कि यार वो 2-3 दिन पहले बनाते हैं, उसमें विनेगर डालते हैं, this is not vinegary, पर ये 6 महीने कैसे चलता है? So my narrative has to keep changing. So now I realize you have to associate it with a past memory, and the only way to do is when you talk about this, I told them दही होता है, दही समझते हैं ना, एग्जैक्टली दही है. छाछ बनाते हैं, समझ लो छाछ की जगह हमने ये बनाया है, वो दूध से बनता है, ये चाय से बनता है कंबूचा के लिए. सो दैट पिकल है, दिस इज एन ऑयल लेस पिकल, राइट? दैट इज हाउ इट इज. और लेकिन फिर एंड देन बिकॉज ऑयल लेस बोला तो फट से हमारे दिमाग में आता है ऑयल लेस है तो हेल्दी होगा, राइट? सो यू हैव टू build on what people already have a concept. If I start breaking down all their concepts and start making new concepts for people every time I'm telling them about my product, it becomes really challenging, क्योंकि उनका belief system भी है ना, तो उनको अच्छा नहीं लगता. Change is uncomfortable, right? तो उनको पहले बताना पड़ता है कि आप जो करते हो ना ये वैसा ही है. So that's why people, when we do beet kwas for example, it's a either love me or hate me beverage, but people associate so quickly with it because it's very close to kanji. And we realize कि जनता को जैसे ही कांजी बोला ना, अंकल आंटीज जो 60s 70s में हैं, जो मेरा प्रोडक्ट कभी टच भी नहीं करेंगे कि ये हम तो ये सब नहीं करते, राइट? एंड यू टेल देम कांजी, वो फट से पी लेते हैं, and they actually like it. Yesterday a friend, one of my seniors from Merchant Navy, he was passing by in an event we were doing yesterday. उनके dad थे, and you know he had to literally walk with his dad. I'm assuming he must be close to 65 70, easy 70. And अंकल और कुछ समझ में नहीं आया, पर अंकल को बीट क्वास समझ में आ गया, and he picked up a bottle. So you have to play by the rules that are there, and slightly once you are there in the market, then you can start bending them, changing them, change your narrative, and reach out to more and more people.
But why pick up a category which is so tough to start a company?
If you want an answer that I give to most of my friends.
No, I don't want to. No, I don't want a friendly
because
answer.
that's नहीं friendly. नहीं वो friendly नहीं है, वो बहुत मतलब not so friendly answer. ऐसे एक ना उड़ता हुआ तीर जा रहा था.
अच्छा.
है ना?
हाँ.
और मैं बैठा हुआ था, तो मैंने वो तीर पकड़ लिया, तो मेरे साथ ये हो गया, ठीक है ना? और
अच्छा,
मैंने ले लिया
और पूरे बदन पे फिर डाल दिया.
बदन पे जहाँ फॉर लैक ऑफ अ बेटर वर्ड लेट्स से बदन पे डाल दिया, है ना? बट दैट वाज नॉट द आइडिया. वी डिड नॉट जस्ट, so we had some time, right? And I have been baking breads previously because I loved sourdough bread and I couldn't find it anywhere in India. Forget about Bombay में, मैं तो जयपुर में था, वहाँ तो you can't get all of this stuff at that point,
Yep.
right? And even if it was expensive, you were not sure, people would say something, I don't think anybody sort of understood. So again, the burden of eating good bread fell upon me कि मेरे को खुद को बनाना है. So there is for a longest time my WhatsApp status was, there comes a time in every man's life when he has to bake his own bread, right?
Interesting.
And I used it for a long time, and I used to bake my own bread, है ना? And because एक आदमी कितना ही bread खाएगा, I used to have all my friends every day come, guinea pig. I was dating my wife Meenakshi at that point, and every day like, babe, this is a new bread, you want to try this, ये कैसा है? And the bread was nice, but you know, it was a learning process. So when we do kombucha, now okay, fast forward 2018, we just did it because we had so much love for the product, and we were so fascinated by this thing कि यार, I am chilling every day in the evening. You know, me and Meenakshi were both in Bombay. We didn't have a lot to do in the evenings, and we didn't have a lot of friends back then. Luckily now I have friends, and I have a community that I can go to. You know, I don't get time, and I'm like always missing out of things. At that time I didn't have anything to do. Ab sham ko, how many times will I go and open a beer, and one beer is never enough, and my wife does not like drinking beer anyways. So I'm like, kya kare? And then kombucha, we already knew about it for the last 6 months. We had been in the US where we picked up the kombucha. We were doing it here. So it was completely accidental. It was just something that, honestly, I've mentioned this before as well at times, that, you know, I really thought that I would fail in this endeavor because everybody said, ये तो बहुत अच्छा है, why don't you sell it? ये तो बहुत अच्छा है, and that time we did not know jack about the product. We were just like, अच्छा ये kombucha है, ये हम 2-4 चीज़ें कर सकते हैं. We hadn't paid too much attention to it, but everybody liked the product, and there was nowhere on the shelf. No friend, all my friends from IIT to IIM to US returns, nobody had ever mentioned kombucha to me. So I तो thought कि ये मेरे को ना कुछ बहुत ही awesome चीज़ मिल गई है जिसके बारे में किसी को पता नहीं है, and I thought कि first movers advantage होगा and it'll be fun to do something different, and that was the whole point of the exercise. And I don't know at what, I think we did have a conversation, me and my wife, that we should do this, but at that point we were so comfortable. We were only here for we thought we'll be in Bombay for 6 months, and it didn't seem like a bad idea to be there and go to the farmers market and do all of this. हमने कभी सोचा ही नहीं था कि हम business करेंगे, but it's like an entrepreneurial bug. एक बार आपको काट लिया ना, so it becomes really difficult. The kicks are so, it's like an addiction. Like you have to go out and like I said, every time somebody calls me, messages me, like, hey, I love this flavor, thank you, and people have thanked me for doing this. Thank you, Vikram, for making kombucha. At least now we have something that I can drink, and it is such a, in my head, I think a lot of people suffer from imposter syndrome, and I do too at times. And I'm like, yaar, मैंने इतना क्या किया? I just did something that I really liked, and I continue to do so. But in somebody's life, it is making such a huge impact.
But passion to business is two different things, right?
Yes.
You have to make money to survive.
Yes.
I always say non-profit भी है, right? For profit होना चाहिए तो non-profit चलेगा.
बिल्कुल.
Okay.
Agreed.
This is not a non-profit.
This is not a non-profit.
You are
100%.
running to make money.
Absolutely.
You are running to make money. Question for you is, and it's a tough market because you are battling a shelf space which is highly dominated by other beverages.
Yes.
And beverages like the behemoth beast, whom you go as children, right?
Yeah, right, 100%.
So, how do you now convert the passion to business? And that's something, have you figured it out? Or you're still figuring it out?
I think Ani is the most, I am still figuring it out. Okay. God knows we are still figuring it out. Every day, there is a learning every day. And sometimes you learn, but you forget. And then somebody, life slaps you back and puts you on the course, and then you again learn, and then you unlearn, and then you learn, and then you unlearn some more next time, and then you learn some more next. So the process keeps on going and going, and I haven't figured it out, but I am very confident from the day one or the week one or the month one, and today I'm way more confident of what I have to do. There are strategies that we think about. Not every strategy is executed, especially as a small business. When you're starting something in a niche category, like we said, niche category, यार हमने सोचा नहीं था इतना niche होगा, because we knew there was a huge gap between healthy and fun. So people consider fun as कि यार cocktails हो गए, mocktails हो गए, या beer हो गया. At least starting with beer becomes fun, right? And then you have all your sodas and colas which sort of there, but none of them is really healthy. So when we discovered kombucha, that was our flagship product, and for the longest time we did that. Like for a first year, it was just kombucha. We thought, यार ये तो इतना अच्छा bridge है, healthy भी है, tasty भी है, variations भी हैं, तो वो bridge इतना अच्छा था. But the market, but again, we had no background in business, marketing, research, or whatever. My wife, she did a lot of HR. She had been a part of corporate. She used to do mentoring, coaching, and everything. But starting your own business is a whole different ball game. It's a different league altogether. You have to, you always second guess at times. Is this the right thing? Should I do this? The trade-offs between money you are spending on something else, the time you are spending in. I think most entrepreneurs, even today when I meet entrepreneurs like who are younger than us or like newer than us, younger to pata nahi, but newer than us, and I see them doing the same mistakes. So at least now I feel relaxed कि हाँ यार मतलब मैंने भी ये किया था, तो it's not something that I feel stupid at times कि यार मैंने ये क्यों किया, I should have listened to somebody or I should have done that, but it's part of the process. Everyone does that. It's just if you're lucky you find a mentor or someone who sort of can help you better. If you're lucky you also you come in with a lot of money and you maybe a little bit of prep. हमारे लिए तो prep time नहीं था, category हमने choose नहीं किया, हमको तो लगा था कि ये बहुत ही एक्साइटिंग और नया है, एंड सिंस इंडिया इज ओपनिंग अप सो मच इट विल बी क्विकर. I think COVID maybe put a little bit of a dent in the whole plan because the restaurants and everything went back in time and now they're like really booming. So now is the time, right? तो वो ठीक है. You will learn, and you know there are things that will. We believed that the market will mature quickly, but nobody saw COVID coming, right? तो मैं कुछ भी प्लान बनाता ज़िंदगी में तो पता नहीं वो किधर जाता, ठीक है ना. And even today now we think, okay, market is booming, everything is happening, restaurants are opening, new stores are opening, let's do that, and whatever. So competition is also coming up, which helps, and also I mean which is good and bad, both things of course, because market अभी सिर्फ education का भार मेरे ऊपर नहीं है. Now there are 20 other brands trying to educate their customers. Now all I have to do is give a better product or a different product, है ना, which people will try someday, not today, not tomorrow, not this year, but next year, and they'll say, hey यार मैंने आज तक क्यों नहीं पिया ये. And that has happened to us कि I've been drinking kombucha for so long, but the day I came across your kombucha, I don't think I want to do anything else, and that's the kind of confidence that keeps you putting in. So now I realize कि अपना काम करते रहो, put your blinkers on, ठीक है, just do what you think is right, keep at it, and niche है, नहीं है, मार्केट विल. कौन सी चीज़ नहीं थी यार, गाड़ी आई तो लोगों को लगा था ये क्या मेटल मॉन्स्टर्स हैं, मेटल डेविल्स हैं, क्या है क्या नहीं है. ग्रीन टी आई, पीपल वाला है कि ग्रीन टी कौन पिएगा इंडिया में, हमें तो मसाला चाय चाहिए, ठीक है. बट नाउ ग्रीन टी इज़ लाइक अ स्टेपल. एवरी रेस्टोरेंट यू गो टू, एवरी होटल यू गो टू, द थिंग इज ब्लैक कॉफ़ी. आई रिमेंबर, आई कीप टेलिंग दिस टू पीपल, ब्लैक कॉफ़ी. आई रिमेंबर 2002, 2004, 5 टाइप्स when I was in, I had just started college, and school में तो CCD VCD इतना.
Actually, a big fad. If you were drinking black coffee, you are cool.
Yes, exactly. And I remember because on the ship when I started, जहाज पे we were a lot of Danish people and everything. So these guys used to drink a lot of black coffee, and you know, तो I used to drink black coffee. Then I came back home. I got used to the idea of it, है ना. उसके पीछे स्टोरी है क्या, जहाज पे दूध नहीं होता था, मतलब इसलिए हमको ब्लैक कॉफ़ी पीनी पड़ती थी. देन आई गॉट यूज टू इट. once I got used to it, so I went I was meeting somebody or a friend or something, and I ordered black coffee, and I still, I mean, I think I can still remember that flash, like the way the guy looked at me, है ना, that I was trying to pretend or be someone that I was not, like, you know, style मार रहा है, हाँ style मार रहा है type, है ना. So, but it was not. It was just like, you know, so it took a little time. It took us 5-10 years for that taste to become okay. And I think we've been here 5 years. Kombucha has taken off really well. If you look at where it was 5 years ago, give it another 5. It will become mainstream. Everything will become okay. I think if you can buy a Starbucks coffee, you know, I know a lot of people talk about kombucha being pricey at times, and I completely understand. But if you can buy a Starbucks coffee, you know, and then you can definitely, you can definitely buy 2 kombuchas in that. So I don't see why kombucha cannot work or will not work or whatever.
You know, you've dabbled into a few things which we have spoken in the last few minutes about. Maybe the conversation about you bringing kombucha from US, but actually it's not kombucha, but something else, and I want to talk about that. And few other things about your family life and all of that. Before we get into those dimensions, just what I could see through you, what you were doing is you are giving a self motivation that, you know, and is that, and I want to double click on this topic because I've been in your situation, not in the food business, but in other business, where you want to give up, right? You was like, right? Yeah, how much can I push forward?
Yes.
So, you know, self motivation, self perseverance, वो सब books में अच्छी लगती है, वो बोर्ड पे अच्छी लगती है, बट खुद पे बीतती है ना, तो वो एक मानो पड़ जाता है कि कौन कितने पानी में 100%.
And
it's not easy, this being on this journey, and specifically like I said earlier, this category is
isn't as rewarding as one would feel ki,
and it doesn't dare, right? And more importantly, the issue with this category, sorry if I say this is an issue, because हर एक का taste अलग है,
हाँ,
right? So how many SKUs do you build? How many product portfolios do you build? Because then you would say, अच्छा ये मुझे ना मैंगो बहुत पसंद है, मैंगो कुछ कर सकते हो, राइट? आप कैरी दे कुछ क्यों करते हो, राइट?
I do this. I have to answer this every day, like.
So how do you know? One is being motivated. Second is being in India, which is 1.4 billion people. सबका perseverance, every state, every 100 kilometers, people say taste, taste buds change,
Change होगा, हाँ,
food
हाँ,
habits
हाँ.
change, all of that, right?
Hmm.
Like how do you like stay the course में जैसे you said right कि बस 5 साल हो गए 5 साल और देना है ये कर लेंगे.
Hmm. तो I think तू
ये काफी लोग का क्षमता रहती नहीं है. 2 साल
हाँ.
3 साल में टूट जाता है.
आई थिंक उसके लिए ना मुझे, इफ़ आई कैन आंसर दैट क्वेश्चन, आई थिंक मुझे लगता है कि उसका सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट फैक्टर रहा मेरा मर्चेंट नेवी में जाना, ठीक है. एंड lately in the last couple of years I've also realized that there are no left turns, there are no wrong turns, I mean there are no wrong turns. Whatever happens for a reason. अभी कई लोग मुझे बोलते हैं कि अरे विक्रम why didn't you stay in the merchant navy, and you know आप चीफ इंजीनियर तो बन जाता कम से कम, एग्जाम तो दे ही दिए थे, you could have just sailed for long enough and you know whatever, you know you would have made like very decent money, you know, and a vacation, long vacations and everything, yeah, easy. But then I
long vacation भी है ना फुका है. When you will talk about
हाँ नहीं yeah but
meaning if you're on water for so long, right, and you can almost be like, people don't realize you. I know a lot of friends
yes
that today when they come amongst the commons,
हाँ they don't relate.
you can't relate to them,
Yes.
they don't relate to you, and social skills जो होते हैं ना.
But that's person to person, no Anis. I have been always like a person, I'm an extrovert, मैं दोस्तों का दोस्त हूँ, मेरे मतलब I've always been like that. तो मेरे लिए वो चैलेंजिंग नहीं था, मेरे लिए अलग चैलेंज था कि मुझे जब भी कुछ आना है ना तो मुझे कुछ करना है घर आके, और मुझे पता है कि अगर मेरे पास सो इसीलिए व्हेन आई वाज इन मर्चेंट नेवी, अगेन इफ़ यू आर गोना कम बैक इट लेटर वी कैन टॉक अबाउट इट, बट मैं लंबे छुट्टी लेता था. मुझे अगर बोल भी दिया ना कि भैया आपको चढ़ना है 1 महीने बाद आपको जहाज़ पे चढ़ना है, मैं 1 महीने भी कुछ चीज़ें जैसे अगर मुझे राइडिंग करना था या मुझे बेकिंग करना था वो मेरा चालू रहता था. आई विल कीप वर्किंग ऑन इट. द लग्जरी वॉज टाइम एंड मनी विच आई हैड, बिकॉज अगर मैं 1 महीने भी घर पे हूँ तो मेरे पे कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है मेरे को, except for my father giving me orders, until I was married. Father was always giving me orders. And then the wife. But no, but like jokes apart, you know, it's that. It's like it's so I'm so free that I could do other things, right? Merchant Navy gives you that. So coming back, I think Merchant Navy was numero uno reason for me to be able to do this what I'm doing today, because बॉम्बे में रहना यार, मैंने ज़िंदगी में कभी बॉम्बे नहीं रहना चाहता. मैं आई बीन टू बॉम्बे, मेरे कर्म भूमि है, मुझे हमेशा फोर्ट जाना पड़ता था फॉर माई एग्जाम्स एंड ऑल दैट. आई हैव डन ऑल माई एग्जाम्स हियर, आई हैव लिव्ड हियर पहले भी 2013 में, यू नो आई हैव हैड माई फेयर शेयर ऑफ बॉम्बे. आई हैव पेड फाइन फॉर गेटिंग इन टू द रॉन्ग कंपार्टमेंट, यू नो. तो वो मेरा सब हो चुका है, बैप्टिज्म इन रेलवे लोकल यू नो हो चुका है मेरा. बट द थिंग इज़ कि वो मुझे अनेबल किया, वो मेरे लाइफ के 10 सालों ने मुझे जो भी मेरी आदतें हैं और जो भी मेरा लाइफस्टाइल था और जो भी मेरा जॉब था, दैट अनेबल्ड मी टू सेव इनफ मनी दैट टुडे व्हेन दिस लाइफ टुक अ टर्न आई वाज फाइनेंशियली secure that I didn't have to ask my parents or I didn't have to take a loan. I just had to be a little thrifty with my life choices, and everything else sort of worked around it, because then I didn't have to worry about मेरा rent कैसे जाएगा, घर पे खाना कैसे आएगा, you know, हमारी मतलब जो regular हमारी जो आदतें, you will always grow to, your lifestyle will also grow to your income status. So we didn't have that problem. The biggest problem was कि बॉम्बे में it is expensive, and luckily Merchant Navy allowed me to do that, and my business, we are artisanal, we are boutique, so as long as everybody pays up on time, we are very sorted, right?
So you've been talking about Merchant Navy, and let's talk about that, right? Because you know, at that time, when I say that time, in 2000s, early 2000s, Navy and being on the ship was still a lot of people would aspire, right? And there would be a lot of people who would want to be, because it had good money.
Also, parents would not let you go on the ship also. You have to look at it both ways.
Right? There was, but I lived in a community where probably I saw a lot of
Bombay is way more mature compared to, in my whole khandan, my dad has 76 first cousins, right?
76
first cousins, and then their wives and their children. So about 250 to 300 people are there in my extended family, like first extended family है ना, as such. उसमें से कोई मर्चेंट नेवी में नहीं है, कोई इंडियन नेवी में नहीं है, किसी का पानी से कोई रिश्ता नहीं है, ठीक है. सो हम नाम तो जयपुर, वैसे भी कुछ राजस्थान नहीं, मतलब ऐसा मतलब बहुत मर्चेंट नेवी ऑफिसर्स हैं, बट एज सच पानी से मतलब ऐसे नोबडी वुड एस्पायर टू, लाइक कोई मच्छी वाला भी नहीं है, समझ रहे हो, किसी ने आज तक मछली भी नहीं पकड़ी. तो there is no connection as to what with Merchant Navy at all.
Vikram, getting double clicking on this because, and the reason why I'm saying is, options say, okay, probably my perceptions are wrong because you were at Jaipur. But the point is, like you came from a state, like you're saying, right? कोई मच्छी नहीं पकड़ा है, किसी ने आज तक बीच नहीं देखा है, probably, right? जयपुर में अगर बाहर गए हो तो है, जयपुर में तो बीच नहीं है, right? So how do you go ahead and choose a career and saying कि boss मुझे merchant navy में जाना है, और merchant navy के लिए you should know how to swim better, you should know how to your fitness.
No.
levels. Okay, I'm sure.
No, actually, okay. So the perception, I think a lot of times people confuse a lot of things that they know about the Indian Navy with merchant navy, because you will not see a lot of serials and movies about merchant navy. Picture se. OTT. So okay, so let me. So okay, my goal was never to go into merchant navy. Point one. My aim was to join the Indian Navy. Okay. Because I, from the very start, when I was a kid, my biggest aspiration or my influence was from the serials that I saw, like Seahawk, Samandar, a couple of these, and another one. So ये देखकर मुझे समझ में आ गया था भाई मेरे को वाइट यूनिफॉर्म पहनना है, और पेट्रियाटिज्म तो मेरी रगों में भर भर के कूट के भरा हुआ है. अभी मेरा कुछ भी ओपिनियन हो, बट आई एम पेट्रियाटिक टू माई लास्ट ड्रॉप ऑफ ब्लड. ठीक है, तो वो मेरे अंदर था कि मुझे इंडियन नेवी ज्वाइन करना है. And I can't, I mean, long story short, I lost a thumb. I had an extra thumb which I cut off for India. I cleared my SSB, 17 SSB. I cleared that. Didn't work out because I had a thumb, and वो फिर वो नहीं हो पाया eventually. And I remember crying my heart out when my final medical did not work out and whatever. And I thought that's it. So I was in college in Bangalore and I was studying, and I decided to be a chef because food was my next thing. Right, my dad's a big foodie. I've mentioned this before as well. My dad's a big foodie, and so I wanted to become a chef. My dad said कि भाई इंजीनियरिंग करो, ग्रेजुएशन करो, उसके पहले ये सब शेफ़ बनना है और क्या करना है और वेटर बनना है, वो सब फॉर हिम बीइंग अ शेफ एंड बीइंग अ वेटर हैड नो डिफरेंस. ठीक है ना. तो फॉर हिम इट वाज लाइक दैट. तो बोला ग्रेजुएशन करना पड़ेगा, तो मैंने बोला ग्रेजुएशन ही करना है. तो आई सेड मैं दिल्ली चले जाता हूँ. आई कुड हैव गॉटन एनी कॉलेज. आई हैड 88% इन 12th स्टैंडर्ड. आई कुड हैव गॉटन एनी. ही सेड कि बैंगलोर में इतने कॉलेजेस हैं, if you have to do anything, you do it in Bangalore or you do it in Jaipur. You're not going anywhere else. His also fear was कि ये एज ऐसी है that बच्चा सामने नहीं रहेगा, तो you know what happens to him, we will not be able to monitor him or whatever, you know, in general in life. So I ended up being in Bangalore. Then my dad saw a merchant navy ka ad in the newspaper with Maersk, and he was sitting with one of his friends who was a doctor in Calcutta, and he said कि यार ये कैसा है. तो बोले यार ये तो बहुत अच्छी कंपनी है, दिस इज़ वेरी नाइस कंपनी, एंड आई नो दिस, एंड आई हैव अ कपल ऑफ पीपल वर इन मर्चेंट नेवी हु आई थिंक वर्क फॉर द सेम कंपनी. सो माई डैड सेड कि बेटा ये अच्छा है, तो ये फॉर्म भर के देख ले. सो आई एम लाइक डैड, आई हैव ऑलरेडी बीन थ्रू दैट वन एम्बैरेसिंग एंड वेरी हार्ट ब्रेकिंग प्रोसेस ऑफ बीइंग रिजेक्टेड इन द इंडियन नेवी. व्हेन पीपल डोंट वांट टू गो देयर, आई वांटेड टू टेक अ बुलेट, बट आई वाज शंड right from the whole thing. So I don't want to break my heart again. I would rather be a chef. He said last try, IIT का पेपर दे दे और ये एग्ज़ाम के लिए, इंटरव्यू के लिए फॉर्म भर दे, इसके बाद अगर नहीं हुआ तो आई विल नॉट से एनीथिंग. एंड आई सेड कि जस्ट टू गेट हिम ऑफ माई बैक लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ अदर टाइम्स, आई एम लाइक ठीक है. एंड देन आई वेंट देयर एंड आई गॉट सेलेक्टेड, एंड सो मच सो दैट मर्चेंट नेवी, माई फुल 4 years were completely paid off by the company. I was 100% sponsored except for my chaddi and my socks. Everything was being paid by my company. And Maersk, I used to work, I mean, that's how I started. Maersk is a shipping giant ka bhi giant, matlab bigger giant in the giants, right? Okay. So I was very sorted. So like, again, like I said, coming back, no wrong turns. So if Indian Navy had happened, I would have never been into merchant navy. If I hadn't been into merchant navy, I would have probably not, I would have never quit and started kombucha. If I had never quit kombucha, if I had never started kombucha, I would have never stayed in Bombay. I would have never met you, and would have so many crazy, amazing friends, people who enrich my life every day. मतलब मुझे पता है कि अगर मैं नहीं भी कर रहा हूँ कल, आज से 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, I get bought off or I buy off or I just take and I have like CEO working and I'm chilling somewhere on a beach, right? I would have people that I've earned that will be beyond all of this that has happened. Or even if it's a phase of my life, this is such a beautiful phase that, you know, I would want to remember. So everything sort of just happened. Merchant Navy happened, and then 10 years of this thing happened. I could have chosen to be a deck officer because I did a dual course, but I had so much fun with the engineers when I started on the ship, my first assignment. So there is two branches in Merchant Navy. There is nautical side, there is engineering side. Nautical side is what takes the ship from point A to B. They are the navigators. They look outside the window. They navigate the ship. They take care of the cargo and everything. And then there are engineers who basically are responsible for the machinery and the ship's functioning, bodies upkeep, technical aspect of it. So I had such an amazing time with the engineers on board, and I thank them so much. I still look up to them. Like all of them, in most, they were all from the same batch. When I was a cadet, all of them were my officers, and I had such a crazy time with them. And I am somebody who wants to get their hands dirty. My wife is like, even on a Sunday, you make sure that you are busy. You know, घर का भी कुछ रहेगा ना. You know somebody can come and fix it, but you want to do it because you like being busy. So don't complain about being busy. And as an engineer, I was having fun. I was busy. The time just flew by, and it is so satisfactory, you know, when something you fix starts working. You know, only an engineer can understand how amazing that is, right? Like last part of code that you hit and you sound like, and it's working like, this is so nice.
So, you know, small overlap. I have an entire family which belongs to water, ship or fish. So,
Okay.
small background. My dad, and he migrated to Dubai. He was doing trading with all the ships.
Okay.
My elder brother he's been in shipping all through his life, where he basically works. You can say the carrying and forwarding, the good old days.
Right. CNF.
Yeah, so he does that. He takes large shipments.
Right.
from Point B. And my brother works for Musk, by the way.
Oh.
Young brother.
And he's what?
So he's working in their captive center in India. So he's working in their back office.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but he also accidentally landed up into shipping, and he says today that's the best industry. And like you said, Musk is the
Bro,
biggest of the biggest.
after COVID, shipping industry
has just exploded.
exploded. I remember 2008. I was about to finish my cadetship, and there was like this whole recession, right? Everything we used to get free cold drinks on the ship. I don't know if anybody would know now, but there was a time before 2008 that if you go to a ship, they would have crates and crates of this soda cans and everything just available to everyone, and fancy cigarettes and everything. And came 2008. Company had to like cut costs and everything. The cold drinks went away and everything went away. Spare parts became difficult, as a part of the job. But 2 years of boom. I have my friends who are like chief engineers and captains now. Bhai, jo bhi mangoge na, company is giving you. Ship nahi rukna chahiye. It is doing really well. I mean, shipping industry is booming. Containers need to move, goods need to move, whether it's bulk or oil or whatever. No matter what happens, the show must go on. And it doesn't stop for anyone.
So, what happened? Why did you leave shipping, and why have you come here on this set?
So I joined shipping because of my dad, and who was the other person we talked about? Wife. So once we came to Bombay, she knows I'm a very passionate kind of a guy. This is one thing that all my friends tell me, कि भाई तू बहुत passionate है. And you know what? Sometimes we don't see our potential and our follies, है ना, to ourselves. We can't just see them because कोई होता नहीं, कोई बताने वाला होता नहीं है, कोई कंस्ट्रक्टिव फीडबैक नहीं देता. फिर आप फीडबैक कितना ले पाते हो, बहुत सारी चीज़ें डिपेंड करती हैं, तो वो सब होता नहीं था. बट व्हेन वी वर हियर एंड बिकॉज वी स्टार्टेड Kombucha, right, and my wife, well, like we discussed, right, she's a mentor, she's a coach, she's a life coach, and I sort of घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर होती है, that fair to say. I don't think there are times when I understand how cool she is and whatever, but sometimes you don't pay enough attention to people who are really close by to you, right? But I think, having said, she knows, and we all of us know that, all my friends and everyone family knows that I have always considered myself an reluctant adventurer. But to start something of your own, I did not know it was such a huge deal, because मेरे पास हमेशा backup plan था. For the first 2 years, my backup plan was ready. ये खत्म किया. Company को, I tell the company that, hi, I want to join back. I go to the shift. I'm sorted. 6 महीने वापस आऊँगा. I have full money in my pocket. No harm, no foul, right? Nothing. But then my wife, who sort of encouraged me कि नहीं करो, तुम्हें अच्छा लगता है, and she didn't do it like करो ये करो वो करो. She was just there with me. That's why it's called Mavi's Pantry. Mashi and Vikram. So she was somebody who said कि करो. And the aha moment that we talk about a lot of times was that once people started coming back to us and started saying, farmers market was only because I told you, right? I wanted to fail and I thought कि खत्म हो जाएगा. Everybody will stop pestering me कि तू कुछ commercially क्यों नहीं करता. This is a great product. I thought once I fail, everybody will shut up about it and I can continue with my life. And I also can tell myself I tried and I failed. But fortunately and unfortunately, I didn't fail as we had envisaged, and I actually kept doing well in the initial phase. But we did not know how big the ocean was, right? You go to the beach and you look at something, you can't imagine how big the ocean is.
But
And we just
how
ended up-
did you figure out the bottles, packaging,
Right.
Meaning you don't come from that background.
No, 100%.
And
not.
correct me if I'm wrong, is your parents or your family into business?
No, my grandfather was a station superintendent. My dad's in pharma, so he has a background of like drugs and FMCG in general, like some bit of FMCG, but not really.
So, okay, figuring out how to do business.
Yes.
You figure out what's going on,
Mhm.
right? You figure out, okay, what you should be making, what you should not be making on a daily basis from a product perspective.
Right.
So, you figured out the ingredient, okay? You figured out ginger ale banana hai, blueberry ka banana hai, beef corn banana hai, kimchi banana hai. But then packaging, labeling, okay, ये तो सब कर लिया, ये तो घर की मुर्गी है. बट मार्केट में जाके शेल्फ पे जाके रखो, स्टोर वालों से बात करो. Like today when I hear you, like you've cracked it, you know how to do it, right? But I'm sure, but when you look at day minus 20 or launch minus 20, launch minus 40, like what happened? Like, I'm sorry, and we'll go back further than that, right?
Sure.
But what happened? What were those initial days like going to the store? Ke bhai, it's not like mom and pop store, you want to have this, right? घर का किराना स्टोर will not keep this thing. Will not keep this. वहाँ प्राइस पॉइंट ही नहीं है, वो बोलेगा ये क्या है बॉटल, मेरे पास बॉटल की जगह ही नहीं है. पहली बात तो राइट, डिस्प्ले नहीं है, वो पीछे दमी गोडाउन में जाके रख दूंगा, कोई मांगेगा तो दे दूंगा, राइट? You need this in proper commercial stores.
Commercial stores, very upmarket gourmet stores to begin with.
Yeah.
That's how we started.
So yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
No. So, see, the first step was we were already doing something at home, right? Now, when we wanted to sell it to the farmers market, the first market is लेके कैसे जाएंगे market में? So what we did was we went to a nearby. So I live in Belapur at that point. We still live in Belapur. So close by we have this area where all these bars and restaurants are. So I went to one of the bars and I said, yeah, what do you do with the old beer bottles and stuff that you get used? And they're like, कुछ नहीं, हम फेंक देते हैं. तो I'm like, आप मुझे दे दोगे क्या? तो बोला हाँ करिए ना, मुझे मतलब क्या है? They were a little suspicious कि ये क्यों collect कर रहे हैं. But they didn't say like जो भी है. And I was willing to pay for it as well if it required, but they were just garbage for them. So I went and picked those up. We cleaned them at home. We got this machine for putting the caps on, you know, वो वाला लेकर आए. And then we made the first batch of kombucha.
What flavor was it?
40 odd bottles we made. It was plain kombucha, just like a green tea based kombucha. And then we had watermelon and mint kombucha, and we had a ginger and honey. And the first farmers market, and like the most farmers market we've done in Bombay, otherwise they've been like vegan. Farmers market are usually about health and stuff.
Yes, I've been to the one which has been there in Bandra.
Bandra, right? So we have never been to Bandra. That's another story.
Yeah.
Not for the lack of effort or trying, but never mind. But we did with Sharan. So we did it with like Pawai, because everywhere else we did not like. You have to start somewhere, right?
Yep.
And like we didn't know anything about food or label, organic क्या होता है, vegan क्या होता है. We did not have any.
और
idea.
FSSAI का
फसाई तो बहुत बात की बात है. पहले तो मतलब फसाई कुछ होता है, पहले तो वो होना चाहिए, पर उसके पहले भाई और भी तो चीज़ें हैं कि कैसे लेके जाएंगे, how will we pack it, how will we buy, how should we sell it, what price point should we sell it at, right? All of these questions. So basic, you Google, right? We Googled. We couldn't really find much on the internet. You know, we found a couple of references, but there was nothing really. There was another brand which was doing another farmers market. So we went to them, and I mean, now in hindsight, they were also very, very new and very small. They were also very insecure. Why are people asking, you know, whatever, I think. So we didn't get a lot of information from people. So we had to depend on internet and books and whatever. And thank God for me being a voracious reader and internet savvy as well. I looked up everything and whatever. And you already knew the basic know-how of how to make kombucha. Now, of course, we knew the tips and the tricks, and we have that द हाफ मिनट प्रिंस का मेरे पास पूरा बुक है मेरे पास, वेयर आई हैव दीज नोट्स की 4 बार लेफ्ट घुमाना है, फिर 5 बार राइट घुमाना है. आई नो ऑल ऑफ दोज ट्रिक्स, राइट? बट वी वर स्टिल लर्निंग. बट दैट पॉइंट, सो ओके, सो वी went to the farmer's market. But before going to the farmer's market, we bought this machine home. We got the bottles. We cleaned everything. We made about we had 10, 12 liters kombucha. That's all we had, right? So 40 bottles से 330 ml के. We make them.
But okay, I'll double click on this. Kombucha making is not an easy process. How much time does it take to ferment one bottle?
So
or a batch?
So a batch takes about 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
Then you bottle it. Then another couple of days at least.
Yeah.
Right. At that time, the process. See, it's not about the process being simple. When
No,
we
it's not about simple.
No,
I know because
when we-
even I'll tell you why I'm inquisitive now. When COVID hit,
Hmm.
I was vegan.
Hmm. Oh.
Okay,
Hmm.
and I used to have kombucha when I used to travel to abroad, and
Right,
specifically in the US.
Right. Right.
I've tried kombucha in India before I had yours.
Mm-hmm.
My brother today was reminding me, you used to have kombucha and you would complain you would get heat in your body. You know, you get those heat hives.
Yeah.
So I would always get that from other products. And you've seen me having yours like
Yeah,
as if I'm having water.
Yeah.
I've never experienced that.
But I have not heard. Like, I know flare-ups happen.
Yeah.
But also, honestly.
Yeah, so I stopped having those products. By the way.
No.
And they were well-known brands. You would see them everywhere.
Sure.
So my question is Scooby. Correct me, right?
Yeah. Scooby. हाँ.
Scooby, I couldn't find it in India. I figured it out कि boss जाना है तो वहाँ से लेके आने का है, right?
Nice. Okay.
So yeah, maybe
now I
I'm
have
wrong
people.
now.
No. I have people. So now I know people like who've been like when we went to the farmers market and the people would come to us. I remember Mina. We've really worked hard at this. So when she used to go to Colaba in our small car, she used to drop me in Chembur at about 7:30 in the morning. Then she would drive all the way alone to Colaba. She would do a market there, finish at about 1:32. Then she would come back in Chembur and pick me up. And so that's used, and we used to go home at like 4 or 5 in the evening, sometimes 6, depending on what we're doing. So crazy days. A lot of, the idea was, I think we got lucky with one. We got the flavors and everything that we were doing from day one. Na, it just sort of worked for us. पता है जैसे पोकर खेलते हैं ना, तो I'll give you this reference.
Yeah, so the question is, which flavors did you start off which do not exist today?
So watermelon mint kombucha does not exist today.
Okay.
Watermelon mint kefir is what we do now. Okay. The challenge was that when we started doing that flavor, हमारा kombucha बहुत raw, हमारे पास process बहुत refined नहीं था, हमारा process भी बहुत raw था. And we were very early stages of learning how to make kombucha. तो problem क्या होता था कि वो bottle इतने fizzy हो जाते थे कि मेरे घर से निकल के मैंने आज बनाया और मैंने आपको कल दिया. अगर आपने उसको रेफ्रिजरेट करे बिना बॉटल खोल दिया, so you will make a champagne out of it, and that used to be 24 hours.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, it used to be so.
So
bad.
I should be putting these bottles now in the fridge?
No, so now these are much better, but there was a time, even now, if you were to open a bottle, like I told you, yaar, don't open it in a pouch. I can't tell you the number of times people have called me, like back in the day, less so now. Yesterday somebody was complaining against it now, कि बहुत कम हो गया, मुझे तो बहुत फिजी अच्छा लगता है और मुझे तो अच्छा लगता है कि वो फैले. तो मैंने बोला आपको तो अच्छा लगता है बिकॉज आप पीते हो. जो इंसान जिंदगी में पहली बार kombucha खरीद के पिएगा, बेचारे ने इतनी मेहनत करी कि एक बॉटल उठा लिया शेल्फ से और वो घर लेके गया, उसने बोला भाई आज तो मैं kombucha पीऊंगा. एंड ही ओपन्स अ बॉटल एंड हाफ ऑफ इट इज इन द कारपेट एंड couch and his clothes and everything. He will never probably buy kombucha again. At least he will never buy my brand again. And that is not the experience I want with people. But again, unfortunately, at that time we didn't think that far. It was such a new niche proprietary product. It still is that nobody cared. So हम लोग लेके चले गए. अभी branding कुछ था नहीं. सिर्फ बॉटल था, एक plain clear bottle with a cap on. And हमने उसके ऊपर first farmers market में तो कुछ भी नहीं किया था. उस पर हमने कुछ लिखा भी नहीं था. हमने वो व्हाइट कलर के स्टिकर आते हैं ना,
हाँ व्हाइट कलर के,
जो व्हाइट के छोटे छोटे हाँ, हमने उस पर फ्लेवर लिख के वो लगा के और प्राइस लिखा था कि वो भी नहीं लिखा था, बस ऐसे चले गए थे. सोल्ड आउट हो गया. देन दे कॉल्ड अस फॉर अनदर मार्केट. सो दैट हैपेंड. बट देन आफ्टर द फर्स्ट 2 weeks, so 31st March 2018 was the first farmers market. Next one would have been after so 31st March and then 6th of April. So we did in Colaba. Again we got sold out, है ना. And I still have those clients with me, by the way, from the very first farmers market. I still have them with me. So then again we decide कि यार ये अगर रेगुलर करना है ना, जैसे हम 6 महीने कर रहे हैं अपने मजे से, ये कि भाई आज से 6 साल बाद हम स्टोरी सुनाएंगे, हाँ बॉम्बे में बहुत फार्मर्स मार्केट किए हैं, that sort of stuff. But then my sister, my real sister, kid sister. She works for Tata, and then she knew about marketing because she was marketing communication का वहाँ पे she was working there. So she said कि भैया I can help you with I have someone and I can give you some these labels and whatever they can make it, we'll pay them. I said fair enough as long as somebody can give us something. So I still have those bottles with the initial label. तो वो हमारे पास तो उन्होंने बना के दिया कुछ फिर हमने बनाया पर हमको फील नहीं आया. फिर 2-3 मार्केट हमने वैसे किए. 10 कार्ड नेक कार्ड बनाया, उस पर लिखा रेसिपी लिखा कि आपको मॉकटेल बनाना है तो कैसे, कॉकटेल बनाना है तो कैसे, कम्बूचा का क्या करना है, वो सब किया. फिर दैट वाज द इनिशियल थिंग. अभी फिर बियर बॉटल भी रियलाइज दैट वाज नॉट अ गुड सोल्यूशन because once you open the bottle there is no closing it back, there is no control over what happens once the bottle opens. ठीक है ना, आर या पार. So we decided that we need to change the bottle. Now the only next bottle available to us was this milk bottle. Okay, now इसमें भी story of evolution है. तो हम गए मार्केट, हमने वहाँ से बॉटल उठाया, ढक्कन लेकर घर पे आए. अब ये बॉटल
मार्केट क्रॉफर्ड मार्केट
राइट, दैट्स द फर्स्ट यूजुअली स्पॉट टू पीपल. एक दो अब तो बॉटल वाले भी 10 हो गए. पहले अभी भी जो फेमस है वो है, पहले तो थे ही 2 कि अगर आपको कुछ भी चाहिए तो ये स्टोर पे ही मिलेगा. राइट,
इंटरेस्टिंग.
हाँ, नाउ 5 years down the line there are more, and or maybe the smaller ones have gotten a little bigger, so more popular, plus internet has become better and all of that. वहाँ से बॉटल लेकर आए, हमने किया. अब उसमें क्या है, ये अगर ज़्यादा प्रेशर हो जाता था तो बॉटल टूट जाती थी. फटती नहीं थी लेकिन बॉटम से क्रैक हो जाता था और वो अलग हो जाता था. तो वो भी सब चैलेंजेस थे. लेकिन हमारे पास एक लेबल आ गया. देन वी डिसाइडेड कि फिर हमें पता चला फार्मर्स मार्केट में फर्स्ट में कि जिंजर हनी इज नॉट वीगन. हमने वीगन क्यों नहीं है ये?
नहीं, बिकॉज इट्स कमांडिंग ऑफ द बी. यस,
बी. तो मैंने बोला उसमें टॉर्चर क्या है भाई, एनिमल क्रूअल्टी नहीं होनी चाहिए ना.
Right.
तो तभी कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं था एनिमल क्रूअल्टी का. तो इसमें क्रूअल्टी क्या है? बीज ने हनी बनाया, हमने ले लिया. बट लाइक
no, if it is ethically sourced honey then
अगेन राइट यार, अगेन देयर इज अनदर टेंशन. बट लाइक इतने लोग ऑर्गेनिक करते हैं. who's organic, who's not, who's vegan, what's ethically sourced. It's a story that somebody is telling you. How many people have actually gone and checked it?
Agreed.
तो इसलिए
but I'm surprised why honey was, because I actually procure honey from these guys and I actually got introduced to them in farmers market. So honey is being sold in farmers market.
like, but not, see, farmers market is one thing, a vegan farmers market is another thing.
Okay.
So with Sharan is an organization, they do vegan. I'm sure if you were vegan at certain point you would have touched base with them. So because it was a vegan farmers market, I could not have non-vegan item. But the thing is, we took it anyways because the first market we did not know. People like the ginger honey because ginger honey is such a instant nostalgia when it comes to something like this. यार ginger honey or nice tea plus tea बोला तो अब now people are thinking kombucha is a tea because it's fermented, so they didn't understand कि tea का और ginger और honey है तो ये तो ठीक ही होगा ना. इसमें क्या no brainer है ना.
हाँ, it's healthy.
So that's why the flavor stuck, and even today from the shelf people pick up ginger honey and blueberry. These are the 2 more popular flavors because people easy association है. Blueberry because it's exotic and ginger honey because it's ginger honey. मतलब how can you go wrong with the ginger honey? Like safest bet to have is a ginger honey. And plus like I said, ginger is the most popular flavor. So ये हो गया. फिर bottles आ गए. फिर उसमें bottles में हमारे cap leak करते थे with the pressure. तो फिर then I went 3 years ago all the way to Firozabad. I had a bunch of numbers. My dad drove me. I went to Jaipur. I was like, अगर ये होता रहा ना तो मैं धंधा नहीं कर सकता. I have to figure this shit out. So मैं गया. Then I took my dad. We drove down to Firozabad. My uncle was my dad's friend, college friend was there. He helped us around. He took us around. रस्ते नहीं पता थे. Whatever. He took us around. Then I found this one guy. उसके bottle quality was very, very, very amazing. I haven't seen the same bottle quality from anyone else in the country so far. So hard work again. I had to really seek it out, but I got it. Quality अच्छा है, bottle कभी फटता नहीं, टूटता नहीं, तो मेरा वो problem solve हो गया. Plus यार, the kind of product I'm selling, I'm serving to a very niche category of people who are paying a decent buck for it, and I very value their payment. And why would I save a rupee or 2 rupees on a bottle and worsen their experience or not enhance their experience? Even if it's not worsened, why not enhance their experience by 1 more rupee or 2 more rupees? That's all it is taking. और plus मेरे लिए क्या अच्छा है, I can sleep peacefully knowing that my bottle quality is super. So that happened. Then we went to a friend and we said कि यार label चाहिए because this was not working out for us and it was expensive as well. So we thought we'll hire a friend. तो घर में बात खत्म हो जाएगी. So we got him. So he gave us our first logo the cur that you see on Mavi's pantry.
Nice.
So that he gave us the logo. He designed the label. The labels are still pretty much what we had 4.5 years ago, with a little bit change in.
You recently did rebranding, little bit of.
We are actually doing it. We haven't finished.
Okay.
फिर हमने kombucha बना दिया. फिर हमने next बनाया. Friend of ours, so Luke Coutinho के साथ we used to,
Yep.
we did a lot of farmers market with him. He's been really helpful in our earlier. So at every step, somebody sort of came in and
Took it to the next level.
helped us walk a little further, right? We did all the hard work, of course, but they were there to sort of encourage, morally give us that encouragement कि यार नहीं, ये लोग अगर तुम्हारे साथ काम कर रहे हैं तो कुछ ठीक ही होगा ना, right? Like if you look at the film industry or like if you work with someone who is doing this, right? तो आपको लगता है कि यार मैं कुछ ठीक कर रहा हूँ तभी तो मेरे साथ काम कर रहा है ना, that encouragement keeps coming. So that happened. तो Luke के साथ काम किया. Then Luke loves beetroot. 2018-19 he would not stop talking about beetroot, and all his followers and a lot of people who follow him and couple of my friends who also follow him, clients who turned really really good friends, right? And like, yaar beet ka kuch bana yaar. So then we made a beet kombucha and it bombed. Like I couldn't drink it. I'm like, मैं नहीं पी सकता, बहुत खट्टा beet, all of that. So then we made beet kvass. Now we wanted to make it something like, I'm talking about the process, how the products come along. तो पहले तो kombucha के 2-3 फ्लेवर बना दिए. फिर हमको farmers market में एक apricot वाला मिला, वो sun dried apricots from Ladakh. So we put it in our kombucha. So that's how apricot kombucha came about. Now apricot stone fruit है, cinnamon goes really well with it. तो हमने थोड़ा experiment किया and we sort of figured out a flavor which was really nice.
But you are not a flavorist.
Sorry?
You are not a flavorist by education. You don't know flavors.
No.
ये flavors खुराफाती idea आते कहाँ से?
जो मैं बता रहा हूँ ना, वो you said ना कि इतने चीजें होती है तो लोग बोलते हैं. So we experiment, we do things, we think of something कि यार कुछ हमें exciting नया करना है तो क्या करना है? What could we do? Something like अगर मुझे कुछ बहुत सारी चीज़ें एक्सीडेंटल भी हो जाती है कभी-कभी. जैसे एक बारी स्पाइसी इमली है, we do a flavor for spicy imli, we don't retail it a lot and all of that. But my mother-in-law made something at home, she is the original keeper of kombucha. तो मैं kombucha US से लाया, मैंने मम्मा के पास रख दिया, मैं सेलिंग चला गया. तो मम्मा को समझा के गया कि कैसे kombucha
उसको भी लाया आपने?
उसको भी लाया,
हाँ.
right? उसको भी symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. तो वो that's the primary thing for making kombucha. तो वो मैं लेकर आया, मम्मा को दे दिया. अब वो जब तक मैं 5 महीने सेलिंग पे हूँ, somebody needs to take care of it, feed it, whatever. So I explained to मम्मा कि करना क्या है. तो
And SCOBY is a living organism, right?
Yeah,
because it is
it's
bacteria.
a very living. It adapts. So if you keep it in Jaipur, it will adapt to Jaipur ka the ambient conditions. If you keep it in Bombay, it will adapt to Bombay ka ambient conditions.
And it has a staunch smell also, right?
Anything fermented has strong smell. Kimchi smells like fart, and I have to tell people, it's a good icebreaker. I don't care because people become comfortable. If it doesn't smell like fart, it is not kimchi.
Interesting. Now
Because
we should start smelling kimchi to figure it out. The benchmark of kimchi now.
Yes, that is no. I'm not kidding. This is not. It sounds funny, but it is not, because the thing is, लोग बोलते हैं कि यार look. So they're comparing kimchi of us to a nearby restaurant or someone who's selling kimchi. I'm like, that is not fermented. Kimchi is all about fermented goodness. But अगर आपने cabbage काट के उसमें vinegar और मिर्ची डाल दिया, does not make it a kimchi. Kimchi is what kimchi is, and kimchi is what it smells like. So all cabbage की सब्जी घर पे बनाओ, what does it smell like? Roses? No. So how do you expect when it ferments it's going to smell like roses? No, it will not. The flavor burst is crazy. Like you will like, ये क्या taste है? Like kombucha when you drink, right? First time somebody drinks kombucha, they're like confused because they are thinking soda होगा, मीठा होगा, juice होगा, blueberry है तो blueberry जैसा taste करेगा या कुछ तो taste
Believe me,
करेगा.
the first time when I had it, I almost puked.
Yeah, same. I thought कि यार ये मतलब why are we drinking this? If we want to drink beer, why are we drinking kombucha? Like why would someone drink? Like but like then it grows on you.
Yeah.
है ना? It grows
It's an
on
acquired
you.
taste.
It's an acquired taste. But once you also understand that the kind of, when you start comparing it with other beverages or whatever that you consume in life, you're like, bhai, this is a easy trade-off. Matlab, it's a no-brainer if I want to trade off. Like I want to drink juice, any given juice, it has preservatives. Say it is no preservatives, it is still it would still have anywhere between 10 to 15 grams of sugar, which is a lot of sugar per 100 ml. Compared to a kombucha, it would have anywhere between, depending on who's making it, but कुछ नहीं तो एक 5 ग्राम पकड़ो, 5 grams per 100. Compared to a juice, with preservatives and about 10 to 15 grams of sugar. Any day, I would choose a kombucha over something else.
So, no, this is, meaning I know you are so passionate about kombucha, but how did you get your first break in a retail store?
Okay.
So we spoke about Lou
Yeah.
and he helping you and driving the focus, and that's how products also started coming live. But he was still in the farmer market scene.
Yeah. We were
right?
still in the farmer market scene for the first 2 years. Yes.
How did that breakthrough happen, or what pivot, or what motivated you to go and say, okay, now I'm going to be in one of these stores?
The farmers market करते हुए भी we were already in the stores.
अच्छा.
But the stores were मतलब only so many ना जो kombucha बेच रहे थे. तो who would मतलब
The big brands, right?
हाँ,
Largely.
बिग ब्रांड नहीं, कोई ब्रांड ही नहीं थे यार.
हाँ.
They were like two, three complete proper brands, very local brands. बहुत ही local presence था, बाहर नहीं जाता ही था, सिर्फ बॉम्बे में थे और बॉम्बे में ही बेचते थे. ठीक है ना. कुरियर तब उतना सॉर्टेड नहीं था, पैकेजिंग उतना सॉर्टेड नहीं था. अब तो सब लोगों ने एक्सपेरिमेंट कर करके नाउ पीपल आर डूइंग डिफरेंट थिंग, वी आर आल्सो डूइंग डिफरेंट थिंग. So at that time we were doing farmers market. Somebody in the farmers market said कि why don't you can keep. I'm like यार कहाँ kombucha कहाँ बेचे, मतलब संडे को farmers market है, आपने संडे को बेच दिया, बाकी दिन आप कैसे बेचोगे?
Oi,
Right.
you can't survive on that, right?
That's not like you're making kombucha now. If you want to make more and more of it, where are you going to sell it, right? And farmers market are like यार some days are good, some days are not so good. तो कितना चलेगा? तो so somebody said that there's a store in Khar. And we keep their, they keep all this kind of stuff. It's a gourmet sort of store.
Needham.
No, Rare Earth.
Okay.
ठीक है. तो they said कि वो सब रखते हैं. Just go talk to them and see or whatever. I think they also keep kombucha from another brand and whatever. So I said okay, great. So I went to them and I talked to him, and that time there were no barcodes, there was no price written or anything. It was like a very simple label, and I bought those round golden stickers to be stuck on the cap, and used to हाथ से हम लोग date वेट लिखते थे कि manufactured on, हाँ, used by or manufactured date or whatever सब लिख के देते थे. तो ये हो गया. तो we got our first store in I think July, August 2018. Now very soon after beginning, we got a retail store. But that was a very mom and pop sort of a shop. जिसको पता था वो जाता था. Vegan store था, तो काफी vegans were, and that was the only store that was selling vegan items.
I know Rare Earth, very good.
Rare Earth, yeah.
I would go there to buy my vegan products.
आपके पास, हाँ, it's closer to you as well in some sense, right? So that was the only vegan store. So, and we were doing a vegan market, so it was an easy fit. So we did there. I think the second store that we did was next was Dorabji's. Pune. So I went to Pune. I talked to them. They didn't have. They were also very new to kombucha and all this. तो मैं गया, मैंने बात किया, and we started. And they said कि ठीक है रख दो. Now Dorabji said कि ये तो आपके पास बारकोड नहीं है, हम कैसे बेचेंगे, कुछ बॉटल पे ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है. Oh, second store was Society.
Okay.
In Lokhandwala. But the problem was कि मैं था बेलापुर में, and वो थे वहाँ पे. If I have to go and pick up a check, basically I would pay.
There was no online payment at that time.
हाँ नहीं, वो चेक ही देते थे. तो कौन पैसे ही नहीं बचते, मतलब मैं उनसे लेने जाऊंगा और स्टॉक छोड़ने जाऊंगा, 2 बार 3 चक्कर लगाए तो जितने का सामान लेते थे उतना बराबर हो जाएगा. I think they still owe some money, but I like never mind. इतनी मेहनत नहीं कर सकता मैं अब, मेरे ना वो है नहीं. तो as a part of learning process. तो फिर then we did something with them. Then Dorabji's happened in October 2018. I think that's when we started. Didn't have the barcodes, no, lot of झोल झाल था बहुत सारा लेबल में. तब हमको पता नहीं था ना करना क्या है. फिर हमने बॉटल रखना शुरू किया 200 और 300 ml का. तो हम 500 ml का बॉटल नहीं करते थे, हम 200 और 300 ml करते थे.
Okay.
तो हमने वहाँ पे मार्केट लिस्ट कर दिया, बिकॉज वी वर एन अर्ली ब्रांड. हमको कुछ लिस्टिंग फी वगैरह नहीं देना पड़ा. Dorabji's में they were very nice, and I think still today I think they are one of the most professional and the most awesome store.
I know, it's an amazing store. Dorabji is like the best store.
The work culture is next level. Like nobody, like you can't. Everything is very crystal clear, very transparent, and people are so involved. The owners are so involved in it. The stakeholders have been there for 5 साल से वो उधर ही हैं और they're rising it, but they're still there. They're like ये आपका है और आप देख रहे हो, and they know everybody and they know me, and whatever I go there I talk to them. काफी सही सीन है, ठीक है ना. बड़ा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, Dorabji is like the biggest in Pune of course, right? So वो हमारा रिटेल स्टोर चालू हो गया. तो फिर उन्होंने हमको बारकोड का देना चालू किया कि आप अगर आपके पास नहीं है तो हम निकाल के देते हैं. तो वो खुद ही निकाल के देते थे और हम वहीं लगा देते थे बारकोड और बेचते शुरू कर. वहाँ से शुरू हो गया.
You need those partners in early stages, right?
तो
like who are motivated, they believe in the product, they believe in you.
they're a retail store and
they need variety.
वो कुछ भी वो हर कुछ सब कुछ बेचते हैं और हर कुछ बेचते हैं.
Right.
तो उनके लिए ये बेचना हो जाएगा नो ब्रेनर.
Yeah.
ठीक है, बिकेगा तो बिकेगा, नहीं बिकेगा तो वापस ले लोगे.
Agreed.
तो भाई मैंने तो 30 बॉटल्स रख के 30 बॉटल्स वापस भी उठाई हैं, ऐसा भी हुआ है.
No, वो तो है. That's part of your.
part and process of the game. Then the people we used to run the market with, they started a store eventually, Sharan Organic Store. So we of course got in, धीरे धीरे, and I think we did a lot of work on farmers market. We focused a lot on farmers market. My wife kept telling me कि farmers market, थोड़ा सा focus, let's shift to stores and cafes and all of that. But that we were such an like as an entrepreneur, I think इतना comfortable zone था ना, और पैसे का प्रॉब्लम कुछ मेरा ब्रेड एंड बटर नहीं था उस वक्त. इट वाज मोर ऑफ अ हॉबी एंड जस्ट ड्वेलिंग. आई वाज जस्ट टू स्कैर्ड टू
Scale it up.
No, just to just to like jump in the water. I was just tiptoeing around it. थोड़ा घुसा, वापस आ गया, थोड़ा पाँव डाला, एक हाथ डाला, थोड़ा सा पंच स्नान कर लिया, वो चल रहा था. I didn't really delve into it, and that is why it took, I think, a little longer than my
So when
journey
did you
was
really
long.
put the gas pedal down?
I think after a year or so we realized that we cracked Nature's Basket, and Nature's Basket was already having 2-3 brands on board already, and उसमें से 2 का almost non-existent है. There's only one that remains, and then we
That's
joined,
yours.
So only 2 of them remain. So like now they have multiple brands. वो पुराने वालों में से एक ही brand बाकी है, and then we've been them. So slowly I chiseled away. Now we're available across Nature's Basket in all their stores across the country, Calcutta, Delhi, Pune, Bombay, all of there, and we have about 7-8 products listed there. So that happened. तो वो लगा ये करते हैं, ठीक है ना. And at that point money was not an issue and all of that, right? तो हमने बोला ये करते रहते हैं, देखते हैं कहाँ जाएगा. So we kept giving us ourselves deadline कि
2020,
हाँ, ये
2019.
मतलब 1 साल करके देखते हैं. मीनाक्षी is very sharp with all of this, right? मैं तो कोई पता ही नहीं था, concept ही नहीं था. Like Vikram, मैं putting yourself at deadline कि आप कुछ करते रह रहे हो तो देखो तो सही कि कब तक करना है, क्या करना है. And luckily I have friends who, because of whom we stay in New Bombay. और मैं भाई मेरा मर्चेंट नेवी का फ्रेंड है. He's not into merchant navy anymore, but he's IIM pass out. तो वो भी मुझे बहुत encouraging, and at his house is where we were living when we were making kombucha the first time around.
Wow.
तो फिर बाद में जब मूव आउट हो गए तो he was always like every day meeting. सारा kombucha तो हमारा अभी भी, he drinks kombucha, and like the only other drink that he drinks if he's not drinking like a is kombucha, है ना, always.
Wow.
है ना. तो उसका भी evolution journey है. ये तो बहुत खट्टा है, से यार ये तो मीठा है.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I've had a lot of misconceptions when I started having those conversations with you. Like when I started looking at, for me, sugar is a big enemy in my life, right? It's not because I have any sugar-based disease, but when I looked it up, I was like, it's only 2 grams. It's
नहीं, but
not.
there is sugar.
There is sugar.
There is sugar.
There is sugar. But it's ratio to the liquid.
हाँ.
It's not as bad as what other
beverages,
carbonated
beverages would
are
have.
there, right?
Like even
And
if
even
it's like
juices,
an energy
right?
drink, juices, and more than that, preservatives. मैं हमेशा से बोलता यही हूँ कि so one of the things that we decided, so then after a year we did okay, एक और साल देखते हैं, अच्छे देखते हैं. फिर कोविड हो गया तो हम यहीं पे थे. फिर
But COVID में something magical also happened. We'll talk about that.
हाँ, so then all of these things happened. तो फिर धीरे धीरे प्रोडक्ट्स भी आते गए. हमने सोचा और क्या बनाएं. वी केप्ट डूइंग इट. माय वाइफ इज ऑलवेज लाइक अच्छा ये बना के देखते हैं. वी आल्सो डू फर्मेंटेड वेजिटेबल्स नाउ, बट द फर्स्ट टाइम वी डिड फर्मेंटेड वेजिटेबल्स बिकॉज वी वर टेंडली एट होम.
Okay.
टिंडे मंगाए थे, टेंडली आ गई. है ना. एंड वी डोंट लाइक टेंडली एट ऑल एट होम, राइट. तो माय वाइफ इज लाइक क्या करूँ इसका. मैंने बोला पता नहीं क्या करूँ, दे दो किसी को, मतलब और क्या कर सकते हो, फेंको तो मन. तो बोली हाँ फेंक तो नहीं. देन शी सेड कि मैं इसको ना लेट मी फर्मेंट दिस. तो खुद ही अपने आप ने ना शी टुक अ जार, शी उसने कटवाया जो भी काटा और उसमें डाल कर उसको फर्मेंट करने रख दिया. एंड देन आफ्टर लाइक अ वीक वी हैड इट. आई एम लाइक दिस इज अमेजिंग. लाइक वी नेवर थॉट वी वुड से अमेजिंग एंड टेंडली इन वन लाइन, राइट, टुगेदर इन वन सेंटेंस, एंड दैट रियली वर्क. सो हमने वो बनाया, फिर वी गेव इट टू अ कैफे. तो फिर देन धीरे धीरे वी रियलाइज दैट वी कुड ऑल्सो डू दिस, राइट.
Yeah.
So the good part about being a small artisanal company is that you have the freedom to do small things because we do everything in small batches. We don't have to like burden ourselves with yeah, shit इतना पड़ा है मैं क्या करूँ. जितना चाहिए होता है उतना बना लेते हैं. थोड़ा बहुत ऊपर नीचे होता है बट वी वर्क अराउंड इट. एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन के हमारे पास अब टाइम कम है थोड़ा सा, लेकिन अब मेरे पास टीम है छोटी सी. कुछ करना होता है तो ये नहीं कि मुझे आई हैव टू गेट डाउन टू इट.
Yes.
आई कैन टेल देम
It's
कि
not you
ये
have to
कर
roll
लो.
up your sleeves.
हाँ, मतलब हाँ, I have to roll my sleeves up when I know that there is something that needs to be locked down. कि अच्छा ये कर रहे हैं अच्छा ठीक है आज मैं बैठ के so this is the process. First stage is I am doing it, then final stage I'll come around, tasting करना है, बताना है, feedback देना है. अभी we were making some kombucha for somebody, a whole bunch of it, 60-70 लीटर kombucha चाहिए था. They wanted a particular flavor and whatever. तो उनके लिए जब बनाना था तो फिर then I rolled up my sleeves, I went ये करो, ये taste करो, फिर then the procedure of how it is, So when you lead from the front as an entrepreneur,
Yep.
your team sort of follows. My team, when they go with me, so like they know भाई सर के साथ जाना मतलब when he's at work mode, है ना, it is beast mode, मतलब no nothing, कुछ नहीं, बस काम के time काम and he's like at it, right? And he's not like in a stressed way, but like he enjoys that, he talks to people, मजाक कर रहे हैं, ये कर रहे हैं, देख रहे हैं, बातें कर रहे हैं किसी से भी, it's part of the job.
Yeah.
And when we started, sales is something that I don't think I mean my dad is in sales, so he always said कि यार बेटा sales की नौकरी मत करना, बहुत बेकार होता है, ये होता है, बहुत fight होता है और ये काफ़ी
Yeah.
चीज़ था है ना.
Yeah.
And I was like कि sales की नौकरी तो नहीं करनी, मैं तो मर्चेंट नहीं था तो sales तो मतलब ही नहीं था. But then we started a company and like between me and Meenakshi, Meenakshi has very set boundaries. मेरे boundaries थोड़े से मतलब मेरे थोड़े flexible करते हैं बहुत बार. So like अभी किसी को you have to ask people to try your product. Now somebody is both of us are walking down the road talking, हाँ अनीस क्या चल रहा है, वो बेचारा बाजू में स्टॉल वाला खड़ा है, अभी वो होप कर रहा है कि भाई अनीस तो
कोई पी ले आके,
अनीस तो पी ले, विक्रम तो पी ले, पे बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. तो then I would actually go to people, tap on their shoulders and tell them, hi, I know that I'm interrupting your conversation, but do you think you can stand here, talk and drink kombucha at the same time? And I've done that 10,000 times on streets, like literally दुनिया चल रही है और मैं लोगों को बुला के kombucha पिला रहा हूँ. And I've done that. And I've converted so many clients. I've gotten subscriptions because somebody was passing through and I'm like, just call them. हाँ, मैं market जाता हूँ, मैं नहीं देखता. I'm the loudest guy in the market. You can hear me.
I can testify to that.
अगर मुझे डमरू मिल जाता ना, मैं डमरू लेके खड़ा हो जाता वहाँ पे. डम.
But you spoke about COVID happened and things kind of put some brakes on. But there is something which is very interesting also happened. Shark Tank.
हाँ. Yeah.
Though you didn't get the funding, you and Meenakshi both didn't get the funding. You've spoken about it, so I will not go. But people think, like you spoke about one thing which kind of hit me that, when you didn't get into Indian Navy, you had the biggest setback in a way. How was the post Shark Tank feeling, right? Like you didn't get that, right? And having mentors like them would have really catapulted your brand. And somewhere I could see that everybody has seen that. Hopefully people who listening,
sure.
People have seen the show, and there were a lot of some people say ये खट्टा है, ये खट्टा है.
बहुत thick skin हो गया, मेरे को नहीं फर्क पड़ता. खट्टा है ना, खट्टा है, ऐसा ही है.
But ये taste palette Indians को नहीं जमेगा, right? So because they are thinking about scale, and to their own right, they are thinking about scale. Because they also want to get 10x,
मेरा
20x.
पैसा है, मैं जैसे चाहे वैसे खर्च करूं. बहुत सही है इसमें.
So what has been that post? Has it benefited you? Not benefited you? What's your perspective of that?
So Shark Tank में Meenakshi was always like against going there for simple reason that she thought that she believed, and I think I can concur with her, that we were not really ready with the kind of data and the things that they needed for this thing. A plan हमने बहुत बार बनाया है, but as a small company plan बहुत बनते हैं और but follow up करना उतना easy नहीं रहता है. तो Shark Tank होने के बाद one thing that happened was we sort of looked at everything that we had done so far, journey so far, ठीक है. Second thing that happened is कि हमारे लिए Shark Tank के कारण हम लोग को बहुत लोगों ने, I was really happy that people at least started asking कि kombucha है क्या, एक बार पी के तो देखना है मुझे, है ना. अब वो मेरे सेल्स में क्या हुआ,
and we've seen it in our own parties and friends we made,
right?
When you have kombucha, you're like, मैंने कभी पिया नहीं लेकिन पी, and then oh amazing, I really love it.
Like
right?
Other day when we were at the party, everyone, like I think everyone had a bottle, like at some point everyone had a kombucha, and maybe multiple times, right? I was really happy. मतलब वो 2-3 बॉटल बच गए थे ना लास्ट में. I'm like यार ये भी बच गया, लेकिन अब already everybody was drinking and everybody was like chill, खाना वाना भी खा लिया था. But and that is exactly the thing. So with Shark Tank, one thing that happened was it became an icebreaker.
Yeah.
it has given us a lot of credibility to be selected from 62,000 people, 62,000 businesses,
Wow.
right, that had the balls to apply. उसमें आपने अप्लाई किया और आप वहाँ तक पहुँच गए स्टेज तक, एंड उसके बाद फंडिंग नहीं मिलने के बाद भी योर शो वाज एयर्ड. So 62,000 people applied, 196 or 198 people got selected, like the companies. उसमें से only 156 or 158 actually aired.
Wow.
ठीक है ना? Till 3 days before our airing, we did not know the show was going to air. और मैंने bother ही नहीं किया. The day we finished our shooting, and of course we knew that we didn't get the funding. I didn't even tell my dad for the longest time. He's a blabbermouth. We would have told everyone. है ना? और फिर नहीं होता तो बहुत अजीब हो जाता.
Yeah.
तो मैंने बताया ही नहीं किसी को.
But you and Meenakshi getting a kind of a celebrity status also, right?
It was fun, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Who doesn't like
yeah, who doesn't like to come on TV, right?
Yesterday somebody came. आप शार्क टैंक पे थे ना? आप टीवी पे थे ना? मैंने बोला हाँ मैं था ना. तो देखा फिर वो मैंने बोला था ना. See, I recognize it. So many people come like that.
Yeah.
And you know, people come and tell us, you know, it is so inspiring to hear your journey and whatever. And you know, even the show, if you see after the pitch, you know, Piyush would say, you know, भाई और तो प्रोडक्ट तो अच्छा है, प्रोडक्ट डिफरेंट है, अच्छा है, लेकिन ये बहुत सॉलिड सेल्समैन है. तो that is what keeps you in the game.
So I want to come to that, right? And the reason why I brought this topic about, you were in a merchant navy, and I've seen merchant navy folks, right? Uptight, dressed well, right? Now when I say uptight, not in a wrong way, right? Dressed well, well spoken, well mannered, right? And because वो training होती है ना, because you're representing the brand, you go to other ports and you want the brand will say, boss, behave, be in your best, right?
Of course, always.
And on your ship, the captains are ensuring that, you know, all the cadets and even the first officers are all lining up in the right way.
Right.
And what you were saying कि यार मैंने रास्ते पे बेचा है अनजानों
कल
को,
भी बेचा है.
अनजानों को, राइट? रास्ते पे खड़े रह गए. एंड ये शार्क टाइम में भी सेलिब्रिटी, राइट? सो दैट आई हैव सीन लॉट ऑफ फोक्स हैविंग दोस इनहिबिशंस, राइट? एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर, यार हम बड़े हो गए, थोड़ा पैसा आ गया पॉकेट में, या हमने कुछ कर लिया, राइट? वो एक लेवल पे के नीचे उतरना, वो और यू नो पीपल कमिंग ऑन द स्ट्रीट एंड सेलिंग, right? That's a different level of a
अपने बच्चे को खुद ही पालना पड़ता है ना. If not me, if I can't do it for my brand, who else will?
Yeah.
And at this point, who else will? Either it's me or Meenakshi or somebody I hire, but nobody can do it better. I mean, also because if it was a fruit juice, na, I wouldn't have to do it.
Yeah.
If it was a male chaat, papadi, namkeen, I wouldn't have to do it. But it is a category that people ask questions. I can't. Even yesterday in Powai is one of a
very affluent place,
educated, affluent place. वहाँ पे भी and of course not everybody was from Powai, but I answered so many people about what is kombucha, what is this, what is that, ginger ale क्या है, क्यों है, and इसके benefits क्या हैं. You know, music fact, like the loudest because the stage was right opposite as Powai Fest. I was just talking to people, and I've done that to tens of thousands of people.
What is the weirdest question you would have got yesterday?
Yesterday?
Or
yesterday नहीं. Yesterday तो ठीक था, मतलब what is kombucha, इसको पीने से क्या. The weirdest question तो नहीं, but the most funny question in which I get repeatedly all the time is, इसमें alcoholic है? तो मैं नहीं, this is non-alcoholic. Shit यार. तो मैंने कहा मिला लो ना, मिला.
पीना है
तो मिला लो, है ना. तो but नहीं, तो अच्छा. And they're like, oh really? Will it be? And I'm surprised, like, I don't know, when people want to drink and they want to mix something and they drink a kombucha, or they think, why are people so caught up कि यार इसको कैसे mix कर दूं?
अच्छा, okay, now you said this doesn't have alcohol, but any fermentation, alcohol is also, like if you look at beer,
right?
It's a process of fermentation, right? Technicality. How do you ensure that your process doesn't get into that side which makes it alcohol? Because I have read about it. Kombuchas can also contain alcohol, because when you stress it enough, right, it can get to that stage.
So one is you refrigerate it really well. You basically stop fermentation, not by preservatives, but by the, उसको क्या चाहिए? उसको चाहिए
शक्कर,
उसको चाहिए खाना यानी शक्कर, उसको चाहिए yeast जो कि ऑलरेडी होते हैं, और उसको चाहिए राइट टेम्परेचर. ठीक है ना. These are the three things, ambient conditions. तो आपने खाना तो दे रखा है, yeast है और बैक्टीरिया भी है.
आपने एम्बिएंट कंडीशन में से टेम्परेचर आपने हटा दिया. So now the this thing is, so it's still alive, still kicking, still everything. You refrigerate it, and it will stay, right? So that is what I have to tell now. So these are learning gaps, right? You have to tell people कि भाई रेफ्रिजरेटर मतलब 6 डिग्री के नीचे.
Agreed.
किसी ने घर पे एसी चला रहा है, बोला हमारे घर में 24 घंटे एसी चलता है. तो मैंने बोला एसी चलता है, does it cool at 6 degrees Celsius? Are you living in Siberia? No, you can't keep the bottle outside. If you want, मतलब आपको शेल्फ लाइफ भी चाहिए, आपको ऑथेंटिक प्रोडक्ट भी चाहिए,
और आपको दारू नहीं चाहिए,
आपको दारू भी नहीं चाहिए, और मतलब उसमें 100 चीज़ें. मुझे दारू बेचनी नहीं है, मैं तो केटर ही उस सेगमेंट को कर रहा हूँ जिसको बेचारे को दारू नहीं पीनी है, लेकिन उसको अनहेल्दी
मेरे जैसे.
हाँ, नहीं मेरे जैसा यार, मैं भी हूँ, मेरी वाइफ है. वी गॉट इनटू दिस बिकॉज ऑफ दिस रीजन, राइट? तो शार्क टैंक ने हमको ये समझा दिया कि भाई ये आपका पीछे बैकग्राउंड जो है ना, ये आपने क्या किया. जिस दिन शार्क टैंक खत्म, हमें नहीं पता था कि कब आने वाला है, कब होने वाला है. आई तो स्टॉप बॉदरिंग अबाउट शार्क टैंक फ्रॉम दैट डे. आई एम अ पार्ट ऑफ द ग्रुप. आई नेवर बॉदर्ड कि कौन आ गया, क्या ड्रेस, उसका क्या बोलते हैं,
कौन देख रहा है, सही
कौन देख रहा है. नहीं, और वो जैसे हमारे जजेस थे ना, so they like shooting happens together and then they split it up कि कौन सा कब आएगा, they figure it out.
Yeah.
तो like वो जज आ रहा है, इस वीक वो जज है, तो अब तो वही जज आ रहा है, अब तो उसका हुआ नहीं था, हमारा तो आ गया. तो like मेरा नहीं आएगा, मेरा मिस हो गया. I'm like भाई आएगा तो आएगा, मैं तो कुछ कर नहीं सकता. I have zero control of what is going to happen.
Yeah.
तो मैंने I gave up. ठीक है, if you can't control it, let
Okay,
it go.
so let me ask you a question. A lot of people say today, whether it's Shark Tank India or Shark Tank in the abroad, it's all made up. It's all programmed. You are acting. The judges are acting. Is that true?
No, absolutely not. So yes, the judges.
And you're talking to me as a friend.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's not. हमारे ब्रांड के बारे में, मैं और मेरी बीवी के बारे में, मैं एक ही बात बोल सकता हूँ. Honesty मिलेगी, ठीक है? You ask us a question, you will get an honest answer. I will never, through my brand or through my person, I would ever want to deceive a friend or a customer.
Okay.
Because they are counting on my word as is.
Okay.
I would never want to deceive them. So whether it's my kombucha, people say kombucha में खत्म हो जाता है, and somebody will explain to their friend कि kombucha में चीनी नहीं होती. मैंने बोला sorry यार, kombucha में चीनी होती है, और जितनी आप सोच रहे हैं उससे ज़्यादा होती है, और वो हमेशा होगी. And if somebody is saying कि इसमें चीनी नहीं होती है, तो think about it. मीठा लग रहा है ना, तो मीठा कहाँ से आया? कहीं से तो शुगर होगा ना. आप रोटी बनाते हो मीठी हो जाती है क्या? नहीं, उसमें चीनी डालते हो तो चीनी का पराठा बनता है ना. आपको कचौरी बनाते हो, समोसा बनाते हो, डालना पड़ता है ना, तभी वो मीठा या खट्टा या कड़वा होता है ना. तो वो सब है. तो थिंक अबाउट इट. कमिंग बैक, सो योर क्वेश्चन वाज
about Shark Tank being real or not?
रियल और नॉट. येस, इट इज़ वेरी रियल. हमको नहीं, हमारे लिए तो देखो कुछ स्क्रिप्टेड नहीं था. हमको पता था कि हमको पिच क्या करना है. दे हेल्प्ड अस विद द पिच. हमने बनाया, उन्होंने एडिट किया भी. नहीं, दिस वर्क्स, दिस वर्क्स. इट इज़ ऑल्सो अबाउट TRP. दे हैव टू शो इट टू अ बिगर ऑडियंस. हिंदी में होना चाहिए, है ना. वो सब चीज़ें वो लोग देखते हैं, कितना इंग्लिश कितना चल जाएगा, वर्किंग लैंग्वेज. अबाउट द जजेस आई कांट टेल यू बिकॉज दैट्स एन इंटरनल थिंग. Have they already made up their mind before we went on stage? I don't know about it. ठीक है ना. उनके क्राइटेरिया क्या है किसी को फंड करने के लिए, वो मुझे नहीं पता. कितना पूल कितना बड़ा है टोटल पैसे का, वो मुझे नहीं पता. ठीक है, मुझे ये पता है कि ये मेरा प्रोडक्ट है, ये मेरे को पिच करना है, ये मेरे पास प्रोबेबल क्वेश्चन होंगे. वो करने के बाद भी जो कटिंग होगी, एडिटिंग होगी, है ना, वो कैसे एडिटिंग होगी, पुष्पा 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 ये कितनी बार होगा ये मेरे को नहीं पता. ठीक है ना. और जब वो आया तो भी हमको ये मतलब ये तो मैंने किया ही नहीं था. बट लाइक व्हेन यू वॉच इट, 45 minutes is condensed into 15 minutes.
Agreed.
तो वो कब से कहाँ से
So
क्या
45 minutes you all were there.
Yes, there.
And you were getting grilled.
Yeah, 45 minutes टेस्टिंग हुआ, पिच हुआ. हमारा 3 मिनट का पिच था. You see only about 30 seconds of it. हमारा 3 मिनट का पिच था.
Wow.
30 seconds of it you see on the TV. So there are things that they do
Yeah,
for
definitely.
It's an artistic
They
editorial
can't
freedom.
give you 45 minutes.
नहीं,
and
45 minutes मत दो. एक 3 मिनट का पिच प्रिपेयर किया था, वो पूरा नहीं दिया. दे हैव द एडिटोरियल फ्रीडम कि हमने ये काट दिया, हमारा कोई कुछ नहीं करता. ठीक है, बट रियल तो था यार. हमें नहीं पता था, मतलब गूज बम्स लाइक बटरफ्लाइज इन द स्टमक टिल द टाइम वी वॉकड इन, है ना. और फॉर द फर्स्ट थिंग, मतलब यू वांट टू डू, एंड दे हैव दिस इंस्ट्रक्शंस कि यहाँ खड़े रहो, ऐसे मत बोलो, यहाँ देखना. एंड यू लाइक सब कुछ चल रहा है, एंड यू लाइक ये भी कर दूँ, अब क्या, कौन क्या बोलेगा, यू डोंट नो हु इज गोना से व्हाट.
है ना, फिर क्या ऑफर करेंगे नहीं करेंगे और आपको रिजेक्ट कर देंगे. यू नो हाउ अश्नीर हैज बीन ऑन द शो, राइट?
Yeah.
He could be he could be a
First
little,
level order of
first or he could be a little bumming factor in the whole thing. काफी, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't feel
and
bad.
he was one who was very against it also, right?
No,
And
yeah. So the thing is, he is. Now see, that is what makes me feel sometimes. Was it like that, or was it like just a character he was playing, or is he the character, right? Or was he playing a character? तो वो क्या है मुझे समझ नहीं आता. But आप वहाँ गए, आपने करा, हमने अपना 100% या जो भी हमारा उस वक्त 100% जो था हमने वो दिया. और अगर मैं तब नहीं जाता ना अश्मी, मैं अनीस, दिस ओनली थिंग दैट आई नो, दिस इज द ट्रूथ, कि हम शायद रेडी नहीं होंगे या रेडी थे. हमारा आइडिया बहुत अच्छा था उनके लिए, और हमारा आइडिया आज भी अच्छा है, पोटेंशियल बहुत अच्छा है. वो फंडिंग मिली या नहीं मिली वो दूसरी बात है, पर वो आइडिया लेके वहाँ पे जाना, अगर हम फर्स्ट ईयर में नहीं जाते, देयर आर पीपल विद डीपर पॉकेट्स, with deeper plans, with a lot of money to spare on people to make a better plan for them and marketing and everything, somebody would have taken it away from us, right? But we are happy that we got the opportunity and we converted it.
so you spoke about the potential, and I want to probably, I've taken a lot of your time and I know you're super
That's
busy, but where to next? You said it's been 5 years. Okay, it may take more 5 years, but what's next now for Mavi?
Yeah, my focus currently is on getting in more places now that we understand what the audience behaves like and whatever. So we are focusing on restaurants and cafes where people are actually coming here to consume some such things.
What about these quick service delivery platforms and
Yes,
all of
also
that?
we are I mean currently we are also available at the airport, for example,
Oh, nice.
right?
Which ones?
T2 पे. So
Bombay Airport.
हाँ, Bombay Airport T2 पे. So
You can imagine I'm still a Bombayite, right? I don't say Mumbai very often. I say Bombay.
हाँ.
That's I don't know if you caught that.
तो मैं भी I like New Bombay, like all my friends and whatever we say New Bombay. मैं भी मुंबई बोलता हूँ, लेकिन अगर इंग्लिश में बोलता हूँ तो न्यू बॉम्बे निकलता है, न्यू बॉम्बे निकलता है ना. और अब तो मुंबई निकल जाता है बिकॉज टिकट्स एंड एवरीथिंग से बॉम्बे. इट्स लाइक बॉम्बे ओनली, कहाँ रहते हो बॉम्बे, राइट? बट साउंड्स अ लिटिल, I have to check myself because I know a lot of people will like Bombay nahi Mumbai or whatever, so never mind. But anyways, so Bombay airport pe hai. We are trying to get into spaces where we know that people would sort of appreciate it, because we understood that we can't try and sell it to all 1.4 billion Indians at the same time. We know that, and people
You understand your TAM, your
so,
total
yeah,
addressable
yes. So we do understand कि हमारा market का क्या है, थोड़ा 100% नहीं भी तो भी एक fair idea हो गया है. We're trying to cater to that. Rebranding इसीलिए कर रहे हैं so that we can address our audience better, है ना. वो ओवर स्पिलेज जो होगा वो सब देखेंगे क्या क्या होता है. ऐसा हमेशा आउट ऑफ द बेल कर्व जनता मिलेगी. But the idea is to get into gourmet stores, places where people are involved, and my focus is on getting in places where people are actually involved in a day-to-day thing, because a thing like this,
needs involvement.
It's
It's not an impulse buy.
No, it is an impulse buy.
Depending
why
upon
not? Like it's an impulse buy. Like आपने कंबूचा देखा है, सुना है, कभी खाया नहीं है. You're passing through the aisle कि यार आज तो मतलब दिख गया तो मैं ले लेता हूँ, चल. एक तो लेने में क्या ही जा रहा है जब मैं और 10 चीजें खरीद रहा हूँ.
I started with that. There was somebody who would have it in front of me and saying, "पी के देखो, you have too much of tea and coffee. Why don't you have?" He said, "I've stopped having tea and I'm only having kombuchas." I was like, kombucha. And when I looked it up, flavors, tea always never resonated with me. And then saying, okay, probiotic भी है, tea भी है, and all of those things, right? I was like, ये कुछ मुझे छाछ नहीं पीनी है as an example, right? छाछ पीनी है तो छाछ पी लूँगा मैं, मतलब why would I go for something like this? But like you said, kombucha सुना है, and then I said, okay, I'll pick it up.
Impulse buy.
And then I bought it. I was like, okay, so here, first time weird, second time I started having it, and now yours I have it like as if I'm having water, right?
So just that. So it's about habit building and all of these things, but they keep happening. It takes a little bit of time. So we are trying to cater to that. अभी छोटे हैं तो हम लोग अभी भी we are trying to figure out कि what works. So kimchi हमने नहीं बनाया था, for example. We didn't make kimchi for the first 3 years because we thought कि खट्टा, because we knew the response to fermented food. तो हम लोग खट्टा और तीखा एक साथ अगर हम जनता को बेचेंगे, how will people receive it? They'll be like कि खट्टा है और plus the smell like we mentioned, right? तो कोई नहीं लेगा. But surprisingly, there are so many takers for kimchi.
Many people don't know kimchi had every day really helps in your gut.
Absolutely. So if you go to South Korea, this is something that I picked up off the internet.
The blue
and
zones, right? They have so much
the
of
blue
fermented.
zones, they have fermented food. Plus, in South Korea, the amount of kimchi they consume, 1.6, 16.5 kgs per year
Per capita?
person, per capita.
Wow.
That's a lot of. That's like 50 to 100 grams of kimchi every day. Okay? So, and that is the reason you will see that if you go to Korea, I'm sure you would have met your fair share of folks from Korea. The skin, the hair, these things are amazing. And like all the latest development in these things happen in Japan and Korea. Yeah, mental health, in general health, right? And the culture, the fermented food is a very essential part of it. Whether it's sushi, उसमें soy sauce डाल रहे हैं, that is fermented. Whether it's something else, whether it's kimchi, natto, koji, all of this is fermented, and it does not just the flavor, right? Noma, one of the best Michelin star restaurants in the world. It's all about fermentation.
Yeah.
और वो कुछ भी ferment करते हैं, कुछ भी ferment करते हैं.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of.
So I'll tell you one thing about fermentation. I actually was in Kashmir earlier this year. They have to ferment. They don't have choice. They have to store meat. They have to store everything.
Curing.
Yeah, they have to cure it. Otherwise, they will not be able to survive during the harsh winters, which is right now. Right. They will not be able to survive.
Okay, so there is a difference between these three things. Okay.
Yeah, curing,
so
fermentation.
Curing, pickling, and fermentation are slightly different from each other.
Yeah.
They are all processes of preservation. Yes. But pickling is you're trying to remove moisture from the whole thing and you're making it anaerobic, right? You don't want any activity to happen. The whole वो जो आम थोड़ा सा पुराना होके थोड़ा सा soft हो जाता है. That's a part of the. It is
process.
Not. Yeah, but it's not. It's less of a biochemical thing and more of a sort of a physiochemical thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that. उसमें कोई बैक्टीरिया जन्म नहीं लेते. It is just preservation with great taste because of the spices. Curing. Again, you are dehydrating it by putting salt and drying it in the air. Smoking it, again the same thing. Fermentation is a live thing. Fermentation is where you're letting something else do the work. Like, जो चीज़ आप pickle में prevent करने की try कर रहे हो, वो ही आप fermentation में कर रहे हो, but in a controlled way. लेकिन अगर मैं इसको anaerobic करूँगा तो ये होगा, aerobic करूँगा तो ये होगा. Pineapple को जो तिपाचे बनाते हैं, it's still fermenting. It is okay. But अगर pineapple को ऐसे ही बाहर छोड़ दो and you let it at till point it's मीठा, then it gets a little bit squashy and then it starts smelling like nothing, right? Like crazy bad, right?
Yes.
Because वो fermentation has gone towards rotting.
Yes.
Now we want to have that thing happen till fermentation, till it's a favorable thing. It's like a house party with a guest list.
Yes. You don't want party crashes.
You don't want gate
and
crashes.
party poopers.
Party poopers, gate crashes. You don't want that.
Yeah.
ठीक है ना? तो अगर उसमें भी you see, that's why you have to monitor the process, and that's about it.
No, great, Vikram. This has been an amazing conversation, and one thing I would say is that the amount of depth you've gone into this topic about your domain, I think it's unfathomable, right? Hats off to you on that, and then it's just I can go on with this conversation, and because food is very near and dear to me also.
Same here.
So definitely I can go on, but it's been an amazing conversation. I've really enjoyed this, and I hopefully your zeal to excel, your zeal to go on, I'm sure my audience will love it. And keep up the good work, and look forward to having more of Maui products, and definitely the blueberries out of the world, right? So
thank you. I think I'm just excited that I get to talk about it and talk about the journey, because it's I never thought that we were really cool until like my friends from college, merchant navy friends from college, they called me and they said ki yaar bro, matlab hats off to you, you're doing so amazing, and we are so proud. And friends ke friends, they call me up and say ki I showed it to my friend that this is my friend who's on Shark Tank, instead of saying my friend's friend, like these are my friends who are on Shark Tank, and मैं मिलती रहती हूँ यार, and whatever, they feel so nice about it, and that makes me really happy, how people are, because I feel proud for my friends, right?
Yeah.
And now I have this luxury of my friends celebrating my something success. Yeah.
I would call it
really,
success.
It's a really, really, really cool thing, and I think I just want people to do this lifestyle shift, do whatever, eat whatever, just like you be just like more aware, and I think that's about it. और passion से तो हम पहुंच गए यहाँ पे. Passion से entrepreneurship शुरू करने की जर्नी तो हमने कर ली है. Now ये entrepreneurship से business की जर्नी, enterprise से business बनने की जो जर्नी है ना, I think that is where we are at the moment, and it's a great learning, and I think everyone I meet has been super supportive. Things happen. I would have never met you if it wasn't for kombucha. Now,
Yep.
honestly, I wouldn't have, because I would have never gone to Live Plugging Summit with my kind of schedule that I have, that thing I'm doing. I would have never gone there if it wasn't for kombucha being a part of the event.
And you and I, and the beauty of all of this is somewhere some of these things, right? Like, especially food connects people.
Right, 100%.
And you are in a business of food, right? So I would say the best networking platform you have, which is definitely there.
I meet really cool people, celebs, and the conversation, it's really cool. I feel like, so you mentioned something, right? Ki subah uthe it gets difficult, and I didn't get to say this, but like, it's a challenge every day. I get up in the morning and I'm like, seriously, the grind begins again. And then somebody messages me and says ki, hey, I would like to place an order. मैं सब भूल जाता हूँ. And I'm like.
So you should ensure that every day you get orders.
There's always something. Like, I get up in the morning, I have a message from someone. Hey, I want to place an order. Hey, can I get some kombucha? Hey, this, query, some story, something or whatever. So it makes my day. Or baki din, there is always something happening. And it's just, I think, if you keep doing what you're doing, it'll work out.
No, great. Thanks, Vikram, for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure to host you. And thank you, and keep doing good job.
Thank you so much for having me. And if you haven't tried kombucha, try kombucha. And with Anis, anyways, I think that's something that I don't have to tell him, or I don't have to show him the know-how of it. You already know. But thank you so much for having me and giving me this opportunity to sort of talk about what we do and how we do it. And it's nice to sort of revisit all the conversations and all these milestones and small journeys and victories and failures that we've had. Thank you so much for this. I appreciate this. Really.
Cool.
Cheers.